Good evening, sir. Thanks very much for coming through. We have Team South Africa in Davos saying things are looking good. We are on a growth path. We have these figures that suggest it's not looking good.
By all means. And
Who should we listen to?
I guess it's expected. I think as political leaders, business leaders, that's the information that they have to give out there. Because remember, they're there to try to get people to come and invest back home here. But like you said, the reality is things are not looking okay. Maybe one has to understand something. South African economy, just like most developed economies and other developing economies, 62% thereof is driven by consumer demand. Then you've got the likes of retail sales, which gives you an indication of the healthiness of consumers because it's a very clear reflection. So as we're checking those numbers, that tells you that the consumer back home here is not doing okay. And if the consumer is not doing okay, given that 62% of our economy relies on consumer demand, then immediately tells you that your economy will continue to struggle. So yes, those are two different stories, but I guess it's expected for them to deliver that kind of a message. But as we've just seen, and it's not only on those numbers, but yes, South African consumer is still struggling.
We know about, we have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. But for those that have been buying from Clicks, Mr. Price, and everyone all along, what has happened to them? What suddenly happened to their money?
For the past 15 years or so, our retail sales have been averaging, I think, around 4.4%. So they've not been good, but now you've got an relatively. But you've got an instance, maybe you can just look at the likes of Woolworths as an example. Get people going to a store, pay their account, then immediately credit gets to be available, then they buy whatever that they need to buy. But most of those retailers, you need to classify them because you've got those who are selling basic necessities. You don't have much of a choice. You just have to go shopping. If you check the likes of Truworths as well, because they're into clothing, stuff like that, those are the things that they can do away with, And also, it also depends on how much of their sales is credit, how much is cash. So you'll still have to strike that balance. Hence, it's known that retail is being seen more as a defensive sector. So the little that we have, whether it's from grants, whether it's from the little money that we are earning with this high unemployment, and as we mentioned, high unemployment, South Africa back home here, every person working, you're accounting for another 3 or 4 people who are relying on you. So it's just so tough, but unfortunately, you just have to go and buy food.
Did the increase in the VAT rate make things worse, or?
By all means, and that was not expected. And yes, as much as they tried to zero-rate some of the things, unfortunately, most things are not zero-rated. Yes, it has a very huge impact. And one thing that we don't even have to undermine is the confidence, because people spend, because I'm confident that my future looks okay, I'm confident that I still have a job, then I won't mind spending money today.
What do we need to do for those who are in Davos to be seen to have been talking the truth when they said to potential investors, it's going to get better now?
Number one, they should realize, as we're preaching, that small businesses are driving the economy, are creating jobs, but unfortunately, we don't see them being represented back there. So they just have to come back home and see. We can see where the world is trying to go, but our reality is South Africa. This is our reality, and let's implement policies that works to our situation, not try to please the big brothers out there.
That's where we're going to leave it. Thanks very much for coming through. That's Makwe Fund Manager's Chief Investment Officer, Makwe Masilela.